Hello. The topic of my research proposal is the lack of communication between management and employees and what can be done to correct it. Decided to do this project because I had been affected by something at a previous employer that was communication related. It was because there was no communication. We were just kind of left in the dark, feeling our way around, and I thought that this would be a good research topic to see what could be done to correct it. In researching, I saw that most of the literature only deals with the different types of communication, the different ways to communicate when you are in an organization, and not very many topics dealt with how to correct it because it's giving you there are multiple books giving you all these different answers on what different methods of communication work best, but there are not many on what to do when the method that you chose is not being used or instrumented in day-to-day activities at work. There are classical studies of organizational communication that suggest that it should be ran like a machine. Um, and I was taking another class at the same time as this one. And so this book, Organizational Communication Approaches and Processes, kind of aided me in this research. But this book talks about the different methods of communication. But once again, this literature does not tell you how to correct the issue of no communication. There are multiple different suggestions about how to communicate, how management should communicate. There are some that suggest that management should communicate in giving orders. It should be written and everything should be really formal. There are others that suggest that it should be on a even kind of flow where employees are able to suggest different ways, an innovative approach. And there is a mixed approach where it's formal when need be and open otherwise. But once again, none of these approaches they don't assist with how to correct the issue when it's not being used. Like, you have all these tools but you're not using them. So I suggest that an interview is held with management and employees separately, where they first take a poll as to, are there communication issues, and if there are, what are those issues pertaining to. The questions would be laid out in such a fashion that if the person taking the poll does not believe that there are management communication issues, then they would continue on in a different line of questioning. It wouldn't be something that was used. It would be more of a placebo, because you don't want somebody to check no and then you're having other people escort them out in front of other managers, and them knowing that this is going to be that they don't agree, and you're still there taking the test. So, well, taking the survey, so they would still continue to take the survey. And the same would be done with employees, and then their results from the initial survey would be synthesized and gone over, and then it would be brought together into numbers, into a poll, and then the poll would be given. The results from the management and the results from the employees would be switched. So the results from the employees would be used to create a poll. That poll would be given to the managers and vice versa, to see if they both agree without even knowing that they do agree. And then there will also be a section for an open-ended response that would suggest what could be done to correct it. I believe that finding out these results, and that management and employers both are frustrated by the lack of communication, could at least start us on the pathway of creating the issue, of correcting the issue. So that is what I'm proposing. I do believe that there are no ethical issues because employees would be brought in under the guise of a work training, and managers would be under the guise of the same. So no one, unless the employees or managers decided to speak about it, would know any different. And also there would be a spot on the surveys and the polls that would allow them to leave their contact information for me to contact them back for further questioning if necessary. I don't see that that would be necessary though. The final thing is limitations or issues that I see with my study. The only issue that I do see is that once employees figure out exactly what the survey or poll is about, that they may kind of change their answers because out of fear of retaliation from management or from their job, and they may not want to be completely honest. That is something that you run into with pretty much anything that is involving research. One of my biases is that I just feel that there's communication issues no matter where you go. However, there are jobs where communication is not that big of an issue, but among peers of the same level. So like among management, communication is great, and among employees, communication is great, but among the two different tiers, it seems to be an issue. So that is what my project is about, how I feel that it would be best researched, and the actual survey process. I believe I've covered everything, and I hope to hear yours in just a minute.